Dr. Marcus Reed hadn't expected his xenobiology research station on Kepler 442b to become a makeshift hospital, but the universe had a way of throwing curveballs at the most inconvenient times. The plasma storm that ravaged the northern continent had been visible from orbit, and when the distress beacon pierced through the electromagnetic interference, Marcus knew he couldn't ignore it. The crash site was a testament to violence. Twisted metal scattered across crystalline sand, the acrid smell of burned fuel mixing with something distinctly alien. What he found in the wreckage changed everything. She was magnificent, even broken. Nearly 7 feet of lean muscle and midnight black fur, with amber eyes that blazed with intelligence and pain. Her species, the Velkari, were legendary warriors throughout the galaxy. Apex predators who'd never been conquered, never been tamed. And here was one of their finest, bleeding out in the ruins of her fighter craft. "Easy there," Marcus whispered, approaching with his medical kit. She snarled, exposing fangs longer than his fingers, but the fight was bleeding out of her along with everything else. A jagged piece of hull plating had pierced her side, and her left leg was bent at an impossible angle. Any sane person would have called for backup. The Velkari were known to kill first and ask questions never. But Marcus had spent his career studying life, not ending it, and he couldn't watch any sentient being die when he had the power to help. The next 72 hours blurred together in a haze of surgery, monitoring, and careful feeding. Marcus had converted his laboratory into a recovery ward, using every piece of equipment at his disposal. He'd studied Velkari physiology in theory, but working on living tissue was entirely different. Her metabolism was incredible. Healing. At 3 times the human rate once he got the right nutrients into her system. She'd wake periodically, those golden eyes tracking his movements with predatory focus. He'd talk to her during these moments, explaining what he was doing, though he doubted she understood standard galactic. Her responses were growls and chirps that seemed too complex for simple animal sounds. On the 4th day, she spoke. "Why?" The word came out rough, her vocal cords struggling with the alien phonemes of human language. Marcus nearly dropped the nutrient pack he was preparing. "You're awake. How are you feeling?" She attempted to sit up, wincing as the movement pulled at her healing wounds. "Why did you not let me die with honor?" "Because letting someone die when you can save them isn't honorable," Marcus replied, moving to check her bandages. "It's just wasteful." Her head tilted, ears flicking in what he'd learned was confusion. "You are human. Prey species. I am Velkari. Predator." She spoke each word carefully as if testing their weight. "This makes no sense." Marcus couldn't help but smile. Maybe that's exactly why it makes perfect sense. Over the following weeks, as her strength returned, so did her curiosity. She introduced herself as Lyra Leva, a name that roughly translated to Storm's Heart in her tongue. She was a fleet commander, leading raids against the hegemony forces that threatened neutral worlds. Her ship had been damaged in battle, and she'd been trying to reach friendly space when the plasma storm struck. "Your healing methods are unusual," she said one evening, watching him prepare her medication with those intensely focused eyes. "Velkari medicine is direct, brutal, fix or die." "Sometimes brutal works," Marcus acknowledged, sitting beside her recovery bed. "But sometimes gentle is more effective. Humans learned that the hard way." She was quiet for a long moment. "My people have stories of humans, weak, cowardly, running from every fight." Her gaze met his. "The stories are wrong." "We're not fighters like you," Marcus said, "but we're survivors. We adapt. We help each other. Maybe that's its own kind of strength." "Yes," she whispered. "I see this now." The real surprise came when her rescue ship arrived. Marcus expected her to leave immediately. She was healed, mobile, and clearly eager to return to her war. Instead, she remained on his station another week, observing his work with scientific fascination. "You study life to preserve it," she said on her final night, "not to end it more efficiently." "That's the idea." She moved closer, her massive frame somehow graceful in the confined space. "Among my people, when one saves another's life, they become soul-bonded. Mates." Her eyes held his steadily. "You have claimed me, Marcus Reed." Heat rose in Marcus's cheeks. "That wasn't my intention. I was just trying to help." "I know." Her hand, easily twice the size of his, touched his cheek with surprising gentleness. "This is why the claim is valid. You acted without thought of gain. Pure intent." She leaned closer, her purr vibrating through the air between them. "I accept." "The bond!" Marcus's mind raced. Interspecies relationships weren't unheard of, but they were rare, complicated, and often frowned upon by both cultures involved. "Lyralai, do you reject me?" The hurt in her voice was unmistakable. He looked into those golden eyes and saw not the fierce predator from the crash site, but the curious, intelligent being who'd spent weeks learning about human compassion. "No," he said softly. "I don't reject you." Her purr deepened, and she nuzzled against his neck. "Good, because I have already informed my clan that I have found my mate among the humans. They are very interested to meet you." "Your clan?" 300 of the finest warriors in Velkari space," she said casually. "They arrive tomorrow to formally acknowledge our bond." Marcus stared at her. 300? "Do not worry," Lyralai said, her fangs glinting in what he'd learned, was her version of a smile. "I will protect you from them." As he contemplated his new reality, mated to an alien warrior princess with 300 lethal in-laws incoming, Marcus couldn't help but laugh. He'd set out to study xenobiology. Instead, he'd become part of it. The universe, it seemed, had quite the sense of humor, and somewhere in the distance he could swear he heard the rumble of incoming ships.